starting an SMMA or becoming an AI growth consultant? Which business model gives you more leverage? And more importantly, which model should you consider if you are thinking about starting a marketing agency? So hopefully this video will settle the debate for you once and for all, because we'll actually go ahead and break down the leverage mechanisms behind both models. In the next 20 minutes or so, we're going to go over 4 things. The first is going to be the 4-form of leverage pyramid. I'll go ahead and show you a visual framework that breaks down why the top 1% of agency owners actually succeed in building an agency, and while others are simply just creating more expensive job for themselves. And you'll see exactly where SMMA and becoming an AI growth consultant sits on this pyramid. And here you're going to see why most agency owners think that they're building a scalable business, but in reality are creating the most expensive jobs for themselves. And we'll also go ahead and show you the hidden leverage killers that keeps them stuck. And the third thing we're going to go over is the AI growth consultant leverage advantage. I'll go ahead and break down the leverage multipliers that make this model exponentially more scalable than traditional agencies. And if you watch this video in its entirety, you're going to see why becoming an AI growth consultant is by far the better option than starting a SMMA. And finally, we're going to go ahead and break down the exact step-by-steps that you need to take to go ahead and choose the right model to maximize your leverage potential, even if you are just starting out. And by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly which model actually gives you true leverage and why the other path leads to a golden prison. Now, this is just a short clip from a 3-hour mastermind call that I have with a few handful of brothers every single weekend. And if you are looking to start an online business, especially in the AI space, becoming an AI growth consultant is the single greatest opportunity that exists right now. And that is because AI is disrupting every single industry one way or another. This is a legitimate path to creating a business for yourself that will serve you and your family for years to come. And if you're interested in joining our Done For You and consulting program, there's going to be a link down below where you can go ahead and book a call. On this call, we're going to go ahead and explain the program in more detail to you, answer any questions, and if we are a good fit for each other, we'll go ahead and get you started. So I hope you find value in this video, and if you do, please consider subscribing. And I'll tell you this, that most agencies in 2025 and beyond will use the growth partner model powered by the mindset and skill set of an AI growth consultant. If you think you can start an SMA, in 2025 and succeed like it was back in 2016, you're wishful thinking. Like, anyone can start an SMA. Anyone can literally, offer lead gen and hire someone from a third world country, but not everyone can do everything that we're going to go over in this video. I mean, I think most people can. It's just that either they're not aware of it or they're ignorant to the fact that this is how it should be done, right? Especially nowadays with AI. So luckily for you guys, we're going to be following this exactly what I laid out here. Now let's talk about leverage, which is probably going to be one of the most important topics that you need to understand, not only in business, but also in your life. Okay, leverage. In simple terms, it is the use of something to maximize an advantage. And we're going to go ahead and talk about leverage as an AI growth consultant. So in order for you to run a profitable business as a growth consultant, you need to understand the concept of leverage and how it's applied within 4 key areas in your business. You also need to understand that there's 4 types of leverage. So it's like, how do you apply all 4 types within each one of these? Okay. So applying leverage in these 4 key areas the right way will allow you to produce 10 times the results with 10 times less effort. Well, how the heck do you do that? Well, let's go over it. First of all, what the heck is leverage? Okay, leverage, again, by definition, is the use of something to maximize an advantage. And if we can, draw a picture for you here to kind of give you like a visual representation. Imagine that you're trying to lift a heavy rock. And this rock is way too big to lift with your hands. But then someone gives you a long stick and a small rock. That small rock is the fulcrum. The small rock in the stick is the fulcrum. So this right here, you have a heavy rock on one side. You're trying to lift it with your hands. It's really hard. But then someone gives you a stick that's like pretty sturdy and a small rock. That's your fulcrum, which is this right here. And you take this and place it under the stick, right? You place the fulcrum under the stick. The rock under the stick, which is your fulcrum. Now, if you push the long end of the stick, this is this right here, you can lift the heavy rock with less strength. Imagine if this is a rock and this is a stick and you're trying to lift it up. You put this stick underneath the rock and you have this fulcrum here and you push down. It's so much easier trying to, squat and lift this rock up. That's leverage. It's being able to pick up this rock in an easier effort than if you were to just lift it with your bare hands. So that is leverage. It's using smart tools to make something hard feel easy. The same exact concept here, guys, of like picking a rock with your hands versus using a stick in a rock is exactly, and like you see how much easier it's obviously much easier to lift it if you have these tools, the rock and the stick, because now you got to do is just push on one end and you can lift it up. That same exact simpleness and making it feel easy can be applied to business. So imagine if you don't do this, like you're trying to lift your whole entire business, just like the analogy of like lifting the rock. You're just, you're doing things much harder, which is why we said applying leverage in these four key areas will allow you to produce 10 times the results with 10 times less effort, similar to picking up this rock with your bare hands compared to picking it up with the tools that we mentioned here. So that's kind of an idea of like what leverage is. Let's go into it in more detail. So there's four types of leverage. There's capital, which is going to be the lowest form of leverage. We have labor, we have code, and then we have media. Everybody on this call, if you guys have dreams to scale your business to 100K plus, like you're gonna have to get to the habit of like recording content. So we'll talk about all of that and make sure that you do it and feel comfortable doing it. Nonetheless, these are the four types of leverage, media being the highest one. Let's go over each one. The first is going to be capital. Again, lowest form of leverage. Capital is leverage of use of money. So using money as leverage. So here it's like spending money on ads. Brother Abu Fahmy here runs ads for his brand. That's leverage. Imagine if he had to go around telling Muslims, hey, I can help you with, read the Quran with proper tajweed. How much harder will that be than just putting ads on Facebook and then reaching Muslims worldwide? That's leverage, right? That's the use of money. Could be insights, could be joining this mastermind. You guys are here, you guys paid to be here, right? Or anything that helps the business, right? Anything that helps your business. Spending money, right, to maximize your advantage. That's a first form of leverage, is capital. The next is going to be labor, okay? And labor as leverage is hiring of others to execute tasks on your behalf. So hiring other people to do things for you, okay? I have a cleaner that comes here every Thursday. I could go ahead and clean the house myself, right? Or could have my family do it. But I could pay someone, very little money, and she comes and she cleans the house, and I'm able to wake up to a nice house. I'm able to not spend time, cleaning the house myself, right? This is just an example, right? Maybe another example in your case is, hey, I don't know how to like deliver these AI solutions to the best of my ability. So how do I find leverage in that? Delegate it to someone else, right? So labor is hiring others to execute tasks on your behalf. We're going to try to keep everything related to business. But here's the idea, right? If you look at the biggest companies in the world, they usually have the most employees. For example, Jeff Bezos, I think he's the second most richest person in the world right now. He's by the way, he's getting married. I think this weekend he's getting married. It's probably going to be like the most expensive wedding. This guy has 1.6 million employees worldwide. Imagine if Bezos had to like run Amazon just by himself because he didn't want to hire people. It wouldn't be possible. So he hired 1.6 million people to run his business worldwide. Elon Musk, 140,000 employees. And the Walton family, the company with the most employees, Walmart, the Walton family, 2.1 million employees. That's the most employees that a company has. All of these people are rich and have built billion-dollar companies because they have hundreds of thousands, millions in some case, of workers working on their behalf, not because they're doing everything themselves. Going back to what Brother Maher was like, should I do this myself? I'm like, honestly, Akhi, like, you have to ask yourself, am I using leverage in this scenario? Are you building the AI voice agent? Is that using leverage or no? It's not, right? So you delegate that to someone else. Of course, it's these guys built a multi-billion-dollar business not just because they hired people, but they also have a great product or service. But you get the idea. They wouldn't have been able to achieve this had they not hired more people. So that's labor, hiring others to execute tasks on our behalf. Then you have the third form of leverage, which is code. And here, code is used as leverage to automate processes and build scalable systems. So using code as leverage can 100x business's effectiveness. Imagine, for example, let's say in the case of someone books a call with you. Someone books a call with you. You have to manually send them an email. Hey, man, you booked a call. Looking forward to seeing you. 24 hours before the call, you wake up in the middle of the night, send them another email. And then 12 hours before the call, you send them another email. Like, that's not leverage. You're wasting your time. Instead, you can use code. Code is like any software, if you will, right? And, media and code are almost like one and the same in the sense that You use media and code. So you record content and then you post that on YouTube, which is code. So you can think of code as anything that literally has code, right? So you can imagine even, let's say, AI voice agents, that's using code. Instead of using labor, which is a form of leverage, and hiring someone to take the calls, you can now use code and have that code take the calls, right? And it can do it, what, at 100 times better or more. And then the last form of leverage is going to be media. I think you guys probably won't be able to wrap your hand around why media is the highest form of leverage until we actually talk about audience building, hopefully on the next call, inshallah. But media as leverage is the content that you create with zero margin or cost of reproduction. Okay, why is this the highest form of leverage? Because it has zero margin or cost of reproduction. We had a brother, I think I mentioned this on the last call. We had a brother that joined our high ticket from a video that I posted like 4 or 5 years ago. And I recorded that one time, I uploaded it, and then he purchased our high ticket from that video. It didn't cost me anything to re-record that video, didn't cost me anything for him to see it. This is why media is the highest form of leverage, because it has zero marginal cost of reproduction. An example is Joe Rogan, right? So he probably
Yeah,
makes
brother. Sorry to interrupt. Brother
Go ahead.
Majid, I'm included too. So I remember that I joined the program or I started working with you after seeing a video that you I think recorded 2 or 3 years ago about ads. So I can relate to that.
Mm.
Yeah, like
SubhanAllah, that's true. I believe you saw an ad of me talking about my client champion method, and then that's how
yeah,
we
I saw an
connected.
ad. Yeah, I saw an ad first, and then afterwards I went to your channel. Then I was struggling to learn how to do Facebook ads. Then
Hmm.
afterwards I went to your Instagram and noticed that you live in Egypt. And then I was like, that's how the whole process worked. But content actually
Wow.
matters a lot. Yeah,
SubhanAllah. Yeah, I totally forgot that was the case. Akhi. I forgot that's how we connected.
yeah,
So
that's how we connect.
that's
Yeah,
a perfect case in point, right? Perfect case in point of like
yeah,
content being the highest form of leverage. I mean, just forget the fact that me and Idris is like he's my client, where we're just like the connection that I made. Like that's an amazing brother that I got connected with. Why? Because I recorded one video and I uploaded it. So thank you for sharing that, Idris, because that's like right on point with what we're talking about here, right? So media is the highest form of leverage. So again, Joe Rogan, he probably makes 100K plus per podcast episode, right? From sponsorships. And honestly, it's more. I mean, he signed a $100 million deal with like Spotify for like a few years. That's excluding his partnerships, sponsorships. So he makes 100K plus per podcast episode, and making this piece of content was no more work than his very first episode that he made. Literally, is no more work. You just sit there, click record. It's actually easier because now he has someone that helps him. Which his first podcast episode probably costed him more money because he didn't have anything. He didn't make anything from it. So it probably costed him money because he had to go buy the equipment, the time to set everything up, the sweat equity, so on and so forth. So, and I mean, I would say my channel right now I have 2,800 subscribers. I'm not getting a lot of like people, but like I've already got maybe like 5 clients from it. Like that's already a plus. But then it's like imagine the compounding effect. It's not going to cost me anything to put more content out there, right? For anybody to see the content that I already posted. So again, zero marginal cost of reproduction. This is an important term for you guys to learn, which means that you record a piece of content once and it doesn't cost you anything for that content to be used or seen by someone else. It costs you nothing to duplicate it. There's no cost to scale it to whoever wants to see it. This is leverage. Okay, guys, if you can take away anything, like take away this. So this is like the four broken down by its individually. Now let's talk about how to actually apply this in business. Okay. How do you apply this in business? Well, let's go ahead and break this down. Alush, I think you just joined. We're just going an overview over the things that we learned the past 2 weeks. So we're just going to go and we're just giving an overview of everything. So how does this leverage apply to business? Well, let's break it down like this. Okay, so because I really want to draw a picture, especially for Brother Muhammad Maysara and Abu Thaymi. It's probably you guys' first time seeing this. So right here, you have the effort arm. Okay, so the effort arm is this right here. And this is the tools and systems and the people. So the tools, the systems, and the people that you use. You have your fulcrum, which is this right here. And this is how you position yourself. Are you just an SMA or are you a strategic partner? Are you an SMA owner or are you a AI growth consultant? Here you have the resistant arm. So this is the resistant arm, and this is the challenge. So like, what is the challenge that you're trying to overcome? I'm trying to get more leads, trying to, have a better sales process in place, trying to book more meetings. I'm trying to have a high conversion rate. I'm trying to get more people to show up. Whatever that is, this is the challenge, the resistant arm. Then here you have the load, which is what the clients actually want. More sales, more time, less stress. And then you have the input force, which is the work you or your systems are doing. So the input force is like the forcing down, the how hard you press down. When your effort arm is short, you have to push really hard like SMA. So this effort arm you see here, when it's very short, you have to push really hard. When your effort arm is long, like this right here, you barely push and you still get a lot. If this effort arm is big, you push very little and you're able to lift out this load. That's an AI growth consultant. So this is like each one broken down into the individual image so that you can see exactly where each one looks like. Let's talk about SMA and look at it in more detail. So in SMMA, you offer only one service like Facebook ads. Okay, you charge low prices, probably like $500 to $1,500 a month. You do all the work yourself, like running the ads, answering questions, checking results. The client still has to do things like follow up, close leads, track their business. That's like using a tiny stick with a huge rock. You burn out fast. So SMA, you have a little leverage because you have a lot to do. And if you map the same exact thing that we talked about to here, you have the effort. The agency manually runs ads, managing creatives and reporting. You have the effort arm, which is this right here. You have one narrow skill, which is we just run ads for you. You have the fulcrum here, which is like we are a service provider. We're an agency that runs ads. You have the resistant arm here, which is the client's goal of getting more appointments and leads. And then you have the load, the real business outcome that the client wants, growth and revenue. Because you're offering just paid ads, like it's going to be so hard for you to get them that outcome because you don't have no leverage. When you're pushing down, like the end of the stick that you're pushing down on is like very tiny. So it's very hard for you to actually lift that load, which is the business outcome that the client wants. So what happens when you're in this situation? Well, the client experience is they're going to get leads, but they have to manually follow up. That's if they get leads. They have no systems for qualification, nurturing, or automation. They also have to fill in the gaps with extra hires or softwares or doing it themselves, which in other words means your offer is incomplete. And the outcome is that it's harder for both sides, harder for you and the client. The perceived value is low because now they're just like, oh, this guy's just offering me Facebook ads and like he could be the best Facebook ads guy, but I'm having to do a whole bunch of things myself. And then you have high churn, you're limited to scalability. Clients will eventually churn and you can't really scale. This is SMMA broken down to show you like exactly what that looks like. Let's look at what it looks like now as an AI growth consultant, okay? And really draw the picture for you. So with an AI growth consultant, you have big leverage, which means big results with less work. Similar to how we established earlier, if you have a long stick and you push down, you can lift that rock up. As an AI growth consultant, here you're giving clients everything they need to succeed, whether it's AI voice agents, chatbots, CRMs, trained VAs, automations, paid ads, so on and so forth. You are able to charge more because you solve bigger problems. If you go and you buy a Toyota right now, it's going to be a set price, and you can't go to a Ferrari dealership and try to buy a new Ferrari Spider and expect to pay the same thing, right? Obviously, they're two different prices. So here, you're solving bigger problems, you can charge a lot more money. And lastly, the systems do most of the work for the client. That's like using a giant stick. It feels easy to lift a rock. Okay, let's go ahead and look at it mapped to the lever. So you have the effort, which is the automations, the AI voice agents, the trained VAs, the CRM. That's doing all the heavy lifting. Okay, then you have the upper arm, okay, which is this right here. So here you have the combined systems, the tools, the human leverage that keeps everything running. Then you have the fulcrum, which is right here. Imagine this is like the rock. This is your positioning as a strategic growth partner, not just SMA. Like Matt was saying earlier, is like before I would talk to someone and they're like, oh, well, we don't need more leads. And then that's it. The conversation ends there. But now, even if they say they don't need more leads, he has a whole slew of other things that he can help them with. So the conversation doesn't end there. It actually gets even more interesting. And that's because of his fulcrum, his positioning. He's not just an SMA, he's a growth partner, right? Then you have the resistant arm, okay, which is the business transformation need. in this case, like predictable appointments to scale, so on and so forth. Then you have the load, which is the client's goal, more revenue, more time, and more scalability. So because of this, as an AI growth consultant, what does the client experience? Well, number one is that they don't need to worry about hiring, follow-ups, or lead qualifications. Why? Because you have all these things in place for them. They also get a plug-and-play system with built-in automations. It's not like we'll run the ads for you and then you have to figure everything else on your own. And also, it gains time back while revenue increases. Right? The client and you can gain your time back while you increase revenue. What is the outcome of this? Outcome is higher perceived value. If you come into a business and you're solving all of these problems for them, they're going to see you. They're going to see that as higher perceived value. You also get faster compounding results because now you don't have to wait on the client to do these certain things themselves. Instead, you took accountability and you're fixing these things yourself. The client stays longer and they're able to pay you more. That is the outcome. Okay. So I hope this visual gave you guys an understanding of, like, first of all, what leverage is, how it looks like, okay, the 4 types of leverage, how it looks like, and then what it looks like mapped out to SMMA and to AI growth consultant. You guys have to apply this in everything that you do. And we're going to go over how to apply all form into all 4 areas. So far, we've only talked about offer, and that's what we're going to be building on this call. Okay, but you need to.
Brother, Magic,
Yeah.
quick question. And so, brother, do you have any video that breaks down these 4 leverage? Because I feel like most of the brothers, especially Muslim brothers, they struggle with this. Like if they understood this concept only by itself, I think so. 80% of business owners, in terms of them being Muslim, they will see it more different point of view. Like you hammer this very well to the point that it's common sense, right? Like it's no
Yeah.
brainer. So if you made a video around this and you could share it, that'll be wonderful. Why? Because I think so. This it's not you just learn it once. You have to go back to it multiple times. Because each time you
Correct.
go back to these four leverage, like you get a new idea from it, like from the
Yes.
media, from the capital, from the labor, right? Like these are the only 4 places that all the business struggle with. Like to be honest,
Sure.
like right, and how do you systemize all 4 of them to each other? How you tie up, and that's I think so. What Alex Ramosi and the top tier players, what they do is just that's what they do. Is plus, as you said, the growth partner. So I mean, I
Yeah,
feel like Muslim brothers like they're lost in this concept because if you understand this very well, that's what is it called? The scalable system does. So yeah, man.
I agree. Yeah. So we actually have a video here that kind of goes over it. But I do have, I am going to be recording a video more specifically on this. So yeah, I think that's a great point. So we do have a video here if anyone's interested in watching it. I think it covers basically everything that we talk about here. It's also in the program. I believe we have this video in the program. But I do have I am recording a more detailed video on it that we'll be uploading to YouTube as well. Yes. The good thing is, anybody here will learn everything that they need about leverage because, as we'll show you guys here, like we're talking about not just what leverage is, but we're going to talk about how to apply it in your offer, in your audience, in your client acquisition, and in your fulfillment. Like that's what we'll be going over probably for the next 2 months, right? Is just how to apply leverage in all these areas. So I think anybody here will get more than enough value, but I will record a separate video specifically for YouTube, inshallah. Great. So again, I hope that kind of gives you guys a visual representation. Now let's talk about how you're going to use this in your agency because, we talked about leverage and what it is and kind of mapped it into SMA and the growth partner, but let's talk about how you're going to do this yourself. So in our mastermind meetings, just what I literally mentioned now, we're going to teach you how to apply this idea of leverage to your offer. In other words, you're going to be able to sell complete systems that solve real problems, not just pieces. We're going to show you how to apply leverage to building an audience, how to reach more people without always being online. We'll talk about how to apply leverage to client acquisition, how to get more meetings using leverage tools and strategies that run for you. And we'll also talk about fulfillment and operations, how to have leverage in your fulfillment and operations and deliver results using tech and talent, not your time. Okay, so we'll go over that, inshallah, throughout these mastermind calls. The takeaway here is that SMMA sells effort, and the growth as a growth consultant, you sell leverage. Okay, you see, clients do not want to rent one piece of the puzzle. They want the whole machine. They want a system that gets clients results without relying on their time, effort, or guesswork. That's why your effort arm is longer, your fulcrum is stronger, and you charge premium pricing because you're lifting more value with less friction.